Hey everybody, thank you for joining me here today. Yesterday was a good news day for Manitoba. Dr. Brent Rusin and I were very pleased to announce that as a result of Manitobans hitting our first vaccination target that we set out in our 4-3-2-1 Great Summer plan, we're able to reopen the province a little bit, 1 week ahead of schedule. So that's good news, I think, for a lot of Manitobans. That'll start this Saturday. I know it's welcome news for Manitoba small business owners and our business community for sure. They're very eager to safely reopen their doors and start to offer the things that they offer to us, their services and their goods. Over the past year and a half, Manitoba businesses have made some great sacrifices to protect their community and keep Manitobans safe, and I thank all our Manitoba businesses for doing that. Throughout this pandemic, we've been working, and we're going to continue to work side by side with Manitoba businesses and their various representative groups to support them through these unprecedented times and challenging times, and help position them for recovery. Healthy economy and healthy people is the key to our COVID response and recovery strategy, and that's why we've continued to offer some of the most generous, broad-based, and easily accessible business support programs in the country. On Tuesday, for example, Scott Fielding, our finance minister, announced a $5 million expansion of our Bridge Grant program to include seasonal businesses that hadn't qualified in previous rounds. These could also be new businesses that opened after the program deadline in March, or seasonal businesses that just recently opened their doors for the summer. And we anticipate that that's going to open some support to over 1,000 Manitoba small businesses. To date, that program alone, the Bridge program, and its 4 installments, has offered more than $300 million of support, direct financial support to more than 15,000 Manitoba businesses, and I should mention also nonprofit organizations, charities. Got a nice thank you the other day from president of one of our Army and Navy associations, just saying how much they appreciated the support. And overall, our support for businesses is unequaled in respect of 2/3 of $1 billion. So for our size, that's a very significant amount of support. But it's deserved and needed because we want our small businesses to be able to get through this and then to be able to bounce out. And that's what today's announcement is a bit about. As we emerge from this third wave toward the post-pandemic Manitoba we're all longing for, with fewer restrictions and more freedoms, our focus has got to remain on getting all Manitobans fully vaccinated. And so today I'm pleased to announce a new program, the $30 million Healthy Hire Manitoba program, that's going to help private sector employers to reopen. It's going to encourage employees to get vaccinated and return to work, and it's going to help get Manitobans their lives back. As we continue to loosen restrictions this summer, as vaccination rates increase, this Healthy Hire Manitoba program is going to help to ensure that steady reopening path continues. And it's going to support employers as they staff up to offer Manitobans the goods and services they rely on and enjoy most. Under the new program, local employers will be able to apply for up to $50,000 in financial supports. And this support will help cover the wages of new employees or rehired employees who can attest that they've been vaccinated or that their intention is to be vaccinated fully. Eligible employers, which include all permanent Manitoba-based businesses, not-for-profits, or registered charities that are operating in the province, will receive a 50% wage subsidy for a maximum of 10 employees with a maximum of $5,000 per employee. So that total, of course, is $50,000. And this program will cover full pay periods for employees who are hired on or after June the 10th, so retroactive to June the 10th, with the last pay period ending on October the 15th. We've lengthened the program coverage over most other programs that there aren't any other provinces we're aware of or have this kind of a program, but many of the other programs federally and provincially just run to the end of summer. We thought we'd have ours go further into the fall because we're not reopened yet. And so frankly, as we reopen, more businesses will be able, as restrictions come down, to add more folks, more employees. And so we wanted the program to go further into the future to allow that to happen too. So this isn't just for companies that are able to reopen now. It's for companies that may be reopening a bit now and a bit later and a bit later. You know, just to explain why we've sequenced it for a little longer time period. As a government, we're doing everything we can to encourage Manitobans to roll up their sleeves, not once but twice. That's the key to our reopening path, and it rewards Manitobans, as we did announce yesterday and as will happen Saturday, with somewhat greater freedoms because of fewer restrictions as we rise in terms of our number of people vaccinated. And it's our goal that this new Healthy Hire Manitoba program will also assist in incentivizing employers to safely bring more employees back to work and encourage more Manitobans to get fully vaccinated and to help them provide the services and make the goods available that they do. So more information, including the full eligibility criteria, how to apply for the new Healthy Hire program, is going to be available early next week on our business supports page, which is manitoba.ca COVID-19 programs. Employers that are already participating in a different government program may also receive funding from the new Healthy Hire Manitoba program to hire additional employees. As a government, we're eager to help Manitoba businesses reopen their doors, resume their operations, help Manitobans return to work safely, and for all of us to get our lives back and to see our friends and neighbors back working. Thanks. Look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Premier. A reminder to our reporters on the line, you will have one preliminary and one follow-up question. Up first this morning from CBC Radio Canada, Simon.
Hi, Mr. Pallister. Simon Deschamps from Radio Canada, CBC. So first question is, so I understand that this program is to encourage employers to hire people who are vaccinated with the 2 doses?
Not exactly, Simon. To encourage employers to hire, and then the employee will attest if they are willing to be vaccinated, and that'll be a requirement to qualify for the subsidy for the employer. So an attestation. In other words, they don't have to be. Many young people have not had a chance to get their second vaccination yet. But they may have the chance to attest that they are intending to, and that is the requirement.
Okay. And the second question is related to the discovery in the Maryville Indian Residence School. With this announcement yesterday, is it something that will accelerate the search in Manitoba?
Well, that search is going to happen nationwide, I expect, and should. And I know that other premiers, we've talked about this on the call with the premiers late last week, are doing as Manitoba is doing and offering supports, but it has to be community-led. It has to be a partnership, a true partnership with Indigenous people. And I think it's important to understand this is something, if you read the Truth and Reconciliation report, as some Canadians have done, you would know this isn't a surprise. Perry Bellegarde, National Chief, said this isn't a surprise. Last night it was reported. It is the truth, and we need to look at it, but we also need to focus on the reconciliation part. And that's where we're going to continue to go. This should be inspiration to all Canadians. Our country isn't perfect. It's a wonderful country. It's an incredible thing. It's a gift to people who live here and to people from all around the world. But we are not perfect, and we need to acknowledge that, and we need to move forward together on reconciliation in a real way. That's what my government is committed to continuing to do, and I think these sad events are a reaffirmation of our commitment. It has to continue, and all of us should be dedicated to working towards the goal of equality of opportunity for all Canadians, all Indigenous Canadians, all Canadians.
From CBC Manitoba, Marina.
Good afternoon, Premier Pallister.
Hi,
So
Marina.
my main question is, what about the businesses who have staff right now? I understand this is for rehires or new hires, but, some of these employers have kept their staff on. We know that some of these places are sites of transmission where ideally you would want people to have vaccines there too, the service industry, retail, manufacturing. So why are they not included in this financial program?
Well, the businesses that have been able to stay fully open, there are a few, are not qualified for this program because of the fact that they haven't been as affected by the restrictions, I guess, Marina, but many have. And those small businesses that have been forced to shut down or have been limited in their ability to operate are the ones that now, with the restrictions coming off, will be able to expand somewhat with the 25%, for example, rule coming back in on retail from 10 up to 25. There's the opportunity for businesses to add more employees, and we want to encourage that to happen. And we want to also use the opportunity to encourage those folks to come back safely. And so vaccines are way out of this mess, and it's a chance for us to encourage that to happen with this program as well.
Thank you for that. We are hearing of widespread issues with the new immunization card. Some people are having delays, but more concerning is that some people that were vaccinated months ago are not having it show up that they've received their first or their second dose. We've even heard some people saying they might think about getting a third dose just to prove that they're fully vaccinated. What do you say to those people who are wanting these cards and encountering all of these issues? Obviously, this is something that every Manitoban wants.
Yeah, no, anytime I hear about one person not getting the card that has been double vaxxed, it concerns me, but I double checked and apparently 97% of the records that have been submitted on the Vax card are okay, but there are 3% that have some problems with them, whether it's errors, inaccurate information of some kind, or missing data in the application. And so not knowing each example that you're citing, of course, I can only tell you generally, right, that about 3% of the cards are delayed in terms of approval for reasons like that, inaccurate data, that type of thing. 97% are moving ahead, and they've hired additional staff in that department. They're offering a phone option as well for folks that aren't as comfortable online that starts early next week. Generic email was established early on so that they could simplify the process for people applying and that type of thing. But remember, this is a brand new process that they're doing here for over 1 million people. So it's monumental, and I know that people want to get their lives back and they want those cards back. So I've been following up to make sure we're doing everything we can to get that to happen as fast and efficiently as possible.
Thank you very much.
From the Canadian Press, Kelly.
Good morning. So, from what I understand, this is a private sector endeavor. What about nonprofits? Is there any plan, as you did with some of the other programs earlier in the pandemic, to expand it to them so that they could be eligible?
Yeah, no, Kelly, the nonprofits are in on this one too, and like charitable organizations, community groups. I referenced earlier veterans clubs, things like that. So as folks are able to get back opening, we want to make sure that, as Manitobans are working people, they want to get back to work. They don't want to stay on CERB. We got 50,000 Manitobans on CERB right now, rather be working. So this is a program to help encourage the employer, incentivize the employer with a real cash offset, right? And I should mention also, this program is going to have an advance component to it. I'm told there's no other province that's offering an advance program. We'll actually advance money to the employer. If they're cash strapped and they feel like this is a real challenge for them to hire back, the advance details will come out early next week, but there's going to be some cash available to be advanced to the small business so that they could actually hire someone back, sooner rather than later.
And on an unrelated note, we're asking this across the country today. So with the discovery of more than 700 unmarked graves in Saskatchewan and considering the graves in British Columbia, some people are calling for Canada Day to be cancelled this year. What is your response to those calls?
My thought is that we learn from our past and we admit it and confront it, and then we move forward. And we have to dedicate ourselves to reconciliation. Part of reconciliation, I don't think, should be denying the history of our country. We should confront it. No country is perfect. absolutely not one on the face of the earth, but Canada's is a lot closer than many. And so I don't think denying Canada Day celebrations is a respectful way for us to move forward. I think we should celebrate our country, but we should celebrate it with its warts too.
From CTV Winnipeg, Stephanie.
Hi, good morning. Are you hopeful with this program that it could potentially encourage people maybe in lower uptake areas to get vaccinated?
I really hope so, Stephanie. I think it's important. Dr. Roussin alluded to it yesterday. We need to all be part of the solution, and in all regions, all across our province, and frankly, all across the country. We're a little bit, I think, above middle of the pack right now in getting vaccinations out. Our uptake is growing, but I'll put it in these terms, because for folks who say, well, it's not that important, it is really important, because we're at 25%. I'll just simplify. There's a lot of complexity in the public health rules, but we're only at 25%. Other provinces, some of them are more open right now, but we're coming off the tail end of the third wave that hit Manitoba later, but harder than many other jurisdictions too. So my point is, we need more people to get vaccinated. That's the key to getting to our next stage. And for example, we hit, our first target was 70 on first vax, 25 on second. We hit that early. We got our freedoms back early. Let's do the same thing on the next stage. The next stage is 75% on first vax and 50% on second vax. Today, we're at 72% on first vax. We're only at 31% on second vax. To put that in numerical terms, we have lots of people that are scheduled over the next 3 or 4 weeks to get vaccinated, but we need an additional 14,000 Manitobans to step up and book their appointments, and our vaccine team is ready. They have stoked it up. So they are actually hitting significant numbers, higher numbers than they ever have for daily vaccines, so they can take more bookings. So we need 14,000 more Manitobans to get that second shot to get us up to that 50%. The sooner we can do that, the sooner we can start to safely get back our lives. And so for Manitobans who are part of this program, they will attest that their intentions to get a vaccine. I hope most of them were intending to or already had, but maybe this is going to help a little bit to add that number, accelerate that number a little bit higher, a little bit faster. And I hope it also encourages others around the province to do the same, whether employers or employees, to step up and be part of getting these restrictions safely reduced, because the key is the vaccination level. And so we need everybody to step up and do their part.
And what would you say to a business who's maybe been closed almost this entire pandemic, or who has had to maybe permanently close, maybe seeing today's announcement and feeling like it's just too little too late?
Well, I would say I'm very sorry, but I would also say that we have stepped up as a government, and I know that Manitobans want to, better now than ever before, want to support their small businesses. And I hope Manitobans all understand how important, maybe there's one good thing to come out of this pandemic. It's that Manitobans understand that it's our small business people that do so much for our communities, so much to create jobs, provide services, give back, support youth groups, support charitable organizations in so many ways. It's our small business people that are really, really the vital part of our economy. And Manitoba's blessed with so many dedicated small business people. I know that they've been, I come from this background. I'm a Chamber of Commerce guy from years ago, and I know how hard it is because I've been there. But it is not possible to undo the entire damage of the COVID pandemic for every business in our province. And I've said that from the start. We've done our very, very best. Our programs are some of the best in the country. I'll review some of the facts here. We've offered the broadest supports of any province: direct cash assistance, incentives to return to work like I'm speaking about today, utility bill deferrals, tax deferrals. We converted our original GAP program from a forgivable loan right to a grant, so it doesn't have to be repaid. Many other provinces, it's loans, and then you get back going and you have to pay them back plus some interest. With our programs, they're grants, which means you don't have to repay them. That we have the most generous sick leave program in the country, bar none. So these are just some examples of where we've stepped up as a government to show our support, but we can't ever make up for the damage that this pandemic has done. We just sincerely hope that with these supports, we've positioned our businesses to come back better than they would have been able to do without them.
From the Winnipeg Free Press, Timor.
Good morning, Premier. This is Timor Durrani from the Winnipeg Free Press. Thanks for taking our questions today. Premier, a federal hiring program is doing the exact same thing that you've announced today. It's a subsidy of up to 50% wage matching for businesses, which is meant to sort of expire and decline as the wage subsidy otherwise is supposed to be expiring. Wouldn't it be better for your provincial government to directly help the businesses in your province of Manitoba that will now no longer be able to access that federal grant? Is this something that is supposed to be different?
Our program is designed to assist small businesses who've been cash-strapped, who are able to reopen as a consequence of the restrictions being lifted, and also to help people come back to work safely by encouraging them to either get a vaccine or attest that they intend to get a vaccine. And it's focused on specifically smaller businesses with a cap of 10 employees only, as opposed to the other program you refer to. And so it's designed to assist those in a way that we think can complement our economy to the maximum benefit. Those who are such a vital part of our economy, our small business people, and those who work for them.
Thank you, Premier. That didn't exactly answer my question, though, because I asked how it's different from the federal program. So you're saying it's different because it has to do more with vaccinations and not necessarily to do with support coming from your province. Can you explain if you can then access both of those programs, the federal and the provincial, or would you only have to be able to access just one of them at a time?
Well, the details on the eligibility are going to come out early next week, and so the intention here is, as it's always been with our programs, to work in a complementary fashion with the federal programs. That's how we've designed our programs from the get-go. That's how we'll continue to design them.
From Global News, Shane.
Good morning, Mr. Premier. Thanks for taking our calls. I guess my first question will be, I'm a little bit curious on this, the fact that employees can attest that they will be vaccinated. I'm wondering if there's a time frame as far as like how long will be accepted to get that vaccination, and then whether money is going to be held back at that vaccination or until it takes place, and if there's a clawback mechanism in the case that the vaccination doesn't actually happen.
You know, Shane, we're trusting. So we've had an attestation as a requirement for a lot of our programs. We take Manitobans at their word. And yeah, in terms of the time frame, good question. What we've asked people to do is attest that they are going to get vaccinated within the time frame of the program. So the program goes till middle October. We hope people will get vaccinated sooner than that. But we're asking, we respect that people have the right to make their own decisions. We're offering a program that encourages those to participate in it to get vaccinated, because we think that's the safe way to get our reopening. And frankly, we can't get to the next step and reopen our economy further without help from people getting vaccinated.
Appreciate that. It got me thinking, too, about employees that maybe are already at a business who are vaccine hesitant for whatever reason. And it also got me thinking about the public sector as well. So I'm wondering if there might be something coming along for businesses to help encourage those employees who are already employed, who might be not getting vaccinated, and then also whether or not the government is going to require public sector employees to get vaccinated.
We're not going to go down that road yet, and I hope we don't have to, Shane. I do know that I've had discussion and heard of discussion among business leaders about programs that they're working on to encourage safe workplaces for the people, but safe workplaces for the customers that come into the place as well, you know, certification programs and the like. And that would be, those would be more micro programs and initiatives that could be pursued by various business organizations. We've been in talks with some of the business organizations about ways to help. But again, a lot of this has to come from the businesses themselves. I've talked to lots of people who are engaged in small business who are very, very cognizant that the sooner they can demonstrate there's a safe workplace, the sooner their customers are going to come back and want to be there.
From the Brandon Sun, Colin.
Good morning, Premier. Last year, according to budget documents presented this year, province only spent about $16.8 million of the $46 million it had set aside for the Back to Work Summer Jobs Program and the Summer Student Recovery Jobs Program. Do you expect that this year all the money put aside for this new jobs program will be spent?
You know, it's always a guess. You're estimating, and you've just cited an estimate on a program, and then we were hit with, of course, additional COVID cases, so people weren't as likely to use the program. My hope would be that this one will be oversubscribed. My hope would be that this budget is lowballed, and that there actually will be more uptake, and that hope would only bear fruit if we are able to reduce our restrictions and get more people vaccinated, quite frankly. Because that would allow small businesses to then expand their operations and hire more people back. That's our hope.
Thank you. Earlier this week, the finance minister said that business supports coming out in the near future likely be a mix of general and industry-focused supports. When will we see the announcement of some of those industry-focused supports?
Well, as you know, we've already introduced a number of programs for industry-specific support, restaurant, hotel, the like, outfitters, tourism-related programs, and those are under consideration on an ongoing basis. I would just simply say that stay tuned, and of course our focus right now as people is to get our lives back, and to do that we need more people to get vaccinated. But I would continue to say our programs up till now, we're one of the only provinces that doesn't require specific revenue drops for business supports. It's important to understand. And, you know, I understand that small businesses are suffering, and I understand that their group spokespeople want to complain. And I get that, because that's how we all feel. We're all not happy about COVID. But let's give some credit where credit's due. These programs have the lowest reporting requirements for support of any province. We're one of the only provinces that allows home businesses to apply for support, and that is a significant difference. Outside of Quebec, I mentioned advance payments. We're the only province that offers them. And outside of Newfoundland, we're the only province that offers programs like this wage subsidy support program. So we're providing funding for specific industries through various programs. We're providing general funding. We're supporting in every possible way we can think of the small business recovery that we believe is imminent. But again, it depends on our vaccination levels. It depends on the response to Manitobans give these programs. And the promotion of vaccine is a big deal, so we're going to continue to promote it.
Our final reporter this morning, Mr. Premier, from the Winnipeg Sun, Scott.
Hi, good morning, Premier. Question about kind of piggybacking off of Shane's. So will employees have to show that proof of vaccination? And if they don't, is there, before that October 15th, is there a penalty for the employer? Do they not receive their funding? How will that work if somebody, goes through the program and doesn't end up, eventually getting vaccinated?
Well, we're asking people to give their word, Scott, so we're hoping that they're honest people. And I think in the vast, vast majority of cases, Manitobans are honest people. We've run our programs on that basis. We got enough to do with making sure that people follow the health orders right now, to be frank. That's the other key. We need people to make sure and follow these health orders best they can. These variants aren't fooling around. They're serious. They're serious, and they're communicable, and they're mean. And we need people to follow these public health orders and get vaccinated. These are the two keys to this thing. But we got all we can do just making sure that we enforce those public health orders right now. We don't want to be following around distrusting Manitobans. It makes the programs way more expensive and less effective. So we're trusting Manitobans to give their word to keep it, and we think we'll be right.
All right, thanks for that. Shifting gears to reopening, projections show us kind of hitting that August long weekend mark of 75 and 50, roughly around July 10th, 11th. Would that be too soon to move into that, or would you commit to reopening as soon as that, if we hit it at that point?
I got ribbed for answering you this way a couple of weeks ago when you asked this question, Scott, but yep. If we can hit those targets earlier, then we're going to be giving freedoms back to people faster. That's the deal. We're tied to those vaccination rates. Now, sure, there are other considerations too. If we see an explosion, and you've seen this in various places of a variant coming in and our ICUs are overloaded, everybody understands we're going to have to delay that reopening. But that's an if. But the major determinant of us getting our lives back is getting vaccinated, and then getting vaccinated again. And so just want to encourage Manitobans on that. I'll just thanks to everybody. I just want to wind this up by saying to you kids out there, thanks, you guys. Been a tough year for you, I know. But you have a great summer, and your mom, your dad, they're getting vaccinated, your friends too, your older friends, brothers and sisters. As they get vaccinated, and we can get safer here in Manitoba, you're going to be able to get back to school. Spend more time with your friends. That'd be great. Thanks to our teachers. Thanks to all the folks that work at the schools too. And remember, kids, to say thanks to them too, because not an easy time for them, right? But, you know, our hope is that come fall, you'll be back in school, and that's the best place to learn. And work hard. Have a good summer. Thanks.